Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 225 of the Saturn Studs podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again today by my disposable co-hosts, Peter and Jake.
Yeah, hooray.
You could just toss us into the trash like one of those little cameras.
Well, normally I tie the adjective into the movie we're reviewing, or whatever we're doing for the feature.
That's good.
And since this is perhaps the most disposable action movie I've ever seen, and I have seen many, that's what I came up with.
Yeah, just like Steven Seagal himself. Cartels is disposable.
Did you know that Cartels was one of 7 movies that Steven Seagal starred in that year? I'm pretty sure they were all shot at the same time. That's why he was only in the movie for 15 minutes.
I mean, it doesn't matter. This is the best. I think you should rate Seagal movies based on the amount of time Steven Seagal is in the movie, and I don't know where this racks up, but I think it's towards the top end.
There's some interesting statistics in this one. Just as a teaser for those tuning in to the controversy vending machine edition of the cast. That's right. Press a number, get a controversy. Comes out 100% every time.
There will probably be some controversy about this episode. Little do you know how inflammatory my Half-Life 2 review is going to be.
Ooh. That's 125. You need a dollar coin for those. No, to give a teaser of Cartels, I counted, and it was 3 minutes until someone said a whole word. Then it was 10 minutes until I saw Steven Seagal standing for 3 consecutive seconds.
And then it was, how long was the movie?
It was an hour and 40 minutes. It was 100 minutes.
It was that many minutes before Steven Seagal enunciated a word properly.
Yeah.
I had to run back a couple of his lines to make sure I heard it right.
I put on closed captioning like 5 minutes in because I was like, I'm done with this.
Jesus. And of
I
course,
can't wait to talk about
as always,
his acting.
we're coming at you live from an interrogation room where the man himself, Steven Seagal, should be coming in any second with a carrot to ask us questions about a possible prisoner escape or some shit, whatever the fuck the plot of this movie was. Whoa!
What's his style that he's the master of?
Aikido.
Aikido, right.
Which is generally recognized as being the least useful martial art for self-defense, as it is easily defended by anyone who knows a different style of martial arts, or any human being who just resists will be able to outmaneuver a master Aikido practitioner.
I thought that was the name of his diet that he was on, where he takes his
Keto.
spin of the keto diet, except just supplements.
All carbs.
It's all carbs. Carbs and
no
fat.
protein, no fats, just all carbs.
Just
It's
spaghetti.
the Aikido diet.
That explains a lot.
He wakes up in the
It really
morning, breaks
does.
off some dry Barilla, just man's teeth are like iron.
I'm just imagining. No, he would gum it. I'm imagining Steven Seagal gumming a handful of fucking rotini, just eating it like peanuts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's like, I got one stuck in there. Oh.
Like the peanut brittle, and it's like stuck in the back of your back molar, and you can't get it out.
My saliva.
That's why he was gumming his lines for most of the movie. He's like, a major.
And then somebody asks him why he's eating raw pasta, and he says, my saliva is the temperature of boiling water, and I just have to suck on it for 7 minutes if I want it al dente.
Do we? No, I have several questions that I can ask, but I will wait till after our segments when we get to our feature. The first segment we have, which is it's a hot one. It's a hot one we're starting out on. It's Trey Watch, where we review the trailers of the week for you.
Yeah. So we'll jerk the curtain back a little bit. Normally we record Saturday morning, but we were recording Friday night due to reasons. And
Do you want to know the reason?
Do you want to air it live on?
Yeah,
the
sure.
show?
I mean, the cat's gonna be out of the bag tomorrow, so sure, fuck it.
Oh, is that where you go? You gotta go catch your cat.
I gotta go catch a cat up in Pennsylvania. I heard it was running around, and they were like, "Free cat if you can catch it." They pre-greased it and everything, so it should be a challenge. Just kidding.
He's
I
an
am
expert cat wrangler. Though.
expert cat wrangler. I got my equipment. It's good to set off at night. That's why I'm leaving tonight. To get him in the wee hours of the morn to track him.
When he's
They're
sleeping.
most active. They're nocturnal. Just put out a can of tuna. They'll eventually come around.
Watch out for Neil Breens, though.
Yes, you also get the
You will
occasional
also-
Neil Breen and
You'll
Neil.
get the occasional Breen. Yeah.
The occasional Breen and Breen impersonator will, come around. You just have to shoo them away with some laptops. You have to throw some computers at them, and then they freak out. I am proposing to my girlfriend tomorrow afternoon. So
Spoilers.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
yeah.
Jake.
So
She doesn't listen to this show, right?
oh no, she listens all the time. Does that make you happy?
No,
You
no,
just hear
no.
from the other room. Jake, what was that? Huh?
I just don't want this show to go up before you actually do it.
No,
And then her to find out through this podcast.
Oh no, she won't. She won't.
She won't. That sounded ominous as fuck, dude.
She won't.
You have until
I'm
3
sure.
o'clock on Saturday.
I keep tabs of all of her accounts, make sure I track her internet and her phone activity. So I'll shut that shit down if I see it go to Saturn Suds podcast. Be like, no.
Donnie says, stop. So anyway, the secrets that we keep, like Jake is very bad at keeping secrets.
I've been holding on to that secret for a long, long time. I've actually told a lot of people.
You've told us pretty much, not in so many words, but we're smart. So the secrets that you keep, it's about a woman who kidnaps the Swiss dude. 'cause Swiss dude.
Threes.
He is a good basketball player. I know this. I feel it in my heart of hearts. Because she thinks he's a Nazi that tormented her family, and now she's become Kathy Bates in Misery. It's basically
Are
the
you saying we
same
get
thing.
old people torture?
Not that old.
Does she
but
take
it's
out his
literally-
artificial hip?
It's just Death and the Maiden
I see.
redone.
Yeah, but I think there's a weird, spin on this that
She was
it
the Nazi
might,
all along.
Well, it might cause some controversy because the husband does not believe her, or isn't fully sold on this being the right guy. Like, she believes her story, but she's not sure if this is the right guy. And I don't know. I feel like this might rub people the wrong way if there's a lot of that, brushing off of her story, being like, oh, I'm sure it happened, but this definitely isn't the right guy.
Well, they show, in the trailer, honestly, this trailer is a 3-minute cut of the movie. Mm-hmm. So, thanks for saving me the time. But they show that he's going through, records, and he pulls up, papers that show that he's, a Swiss national, or at least has papers that indicate as such. They're trying to frame it as a caper, what's real, what's not. But ultimately, I don't really care.
I, for one,
Yeah.
can't wait until the parody comes out. The Sneezes You Keep, where a girl captures a Snazi.
That's the children's version.
That's it. Yes, that's it. I'm sad that no one has ever used the term Snazi, to my knowledge, in the wider culture.
You're the first. You should get yourself down to the patent office.
Give me a medal made out of pure nose gold.
Fucking Nazis with their runny noses. Yeah, I'm sure it'll probably like try to sow some seeds of doubt and be like, maybe he is German. He had dual citizenship. Otherwise, if they don't, because like they basically sold it off in the trailer. They said they were like, all right, he's not actually the guy. He's Swiss. He's not the right. He didn't do anything wrong.
He's too Italian. He can't be Swiss.
I know. He somehow gets a gun. Who knows? There's a lot of conflict. We'll see what happens.
That's a callback that Jake didn't understand, but I appreciate that you went with the flow anyway.
I'll try. I try. Every now and then I try.
Peter popped. You can see it on the recording. Peter popped for that.
Oh, absolutely. I fell out of the frame.
Peter, do you have any special trailers from your hell dimension that you dredged up?
No. I mean, well, the big one for me that's relevant to us, that I actually watched, because there's one that's Superman: The Man of Tomorrow. I haven't seen that yet. But it's just, all I know is there's Superman fights Lobo in that one. But no, let's talk about the Snyder Cut. It's coming out.
Snyder Cut.
So there's a tweet that is a teaser for the teaser, because the teaser is coming out Saturday the 22nd. But they released a short video that's teasing the teaser. And it's going to be available on the DC Fandom, which is the new version of DC Universe. It is no longer. I don't know. Is DC Universe still up? We have a subscription.
I
think so. To my knowledge.
Let's take. Now, I haven't taken a close look at what the DC Fandom is. I'll do a quick, short Google right in front of your very eyes.
I did see something where they were trying to peddle the Fandom brand name. I did not know that was replacing DC Universe, unless it's just a renaming thing. But
I would hope that it's just a rebranding.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the app right now, and everything seems to be in order.
So yeah, they came out with like a 23-second. Yeah, DC Fandom, a global experience. Weird. Anyways, they came out with like a 20-second trailer, teaser trailer to it, and I mean, it really doesn't show you much of like anything.
Oh, it's a virtual convention.
I see.
It's DC's convention that they're holding online.
Oh, okay.
All the major political parties have one. So the Democrats went last week, and then it's DC, then the Republicans,
DC, then the
Marvel
DNC.
will go.
They're really hoping people like mistype the DNC and come up with DC convention.
and then like 6 weeks, like 2 weeks before the election, and like a weird paid programming time slot, you'll have the Dark Horse Comics convention.
The DHC, followed by the THC.
THC.
Which is the Green Party.
Followed by the THX, which is weird, because THX usually comes at the beginning, so that you ensure that you can't hear anything for the rest of the movie.
It's just
that you scared any small children in your theater away.
It's just 2 days of that.
THX even around still?
I don't think, not really. I think they dropped out of the big ones. I think Sony and Dolby sort of broke through to the next layer there. I was never so there's this meme that like THX was this traumatizing sound, and I never it was never like scary to me. I
mean, it was loud. Loud noises are upsetting to a lot of people. But yeah, I don't remember it being you got me hyped when I saw the THX logo come out. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to see some shit.
And then I sang the THX logo with my chorus once, and it's weirdly chordally impressively dense. It's because there's some notes that go down and there's some notes that go up, and it's a chord that goes and it's like, what's happening?
So actually there are even, I don't know if they released one for 1 day ago, but they released one a couple days ago. They said in 2 days, and then they released one today being like tomorrow. And so they have another teaser, which is another 20 seconds of like just little flashes of like what it's gonna be, and it, with no context, it's just like, here's your superhero standing in a room that you might know, might not know. Looks like a spaceship. Here's the
think
Flash.
Again, this is one of those movies where like under normal rules of nature, it would come out in a theater, or they would try and push it into a theater or something, and it would be weird and it wouldn't have a good release. But the consequences we find, or the situation we find ourselves in, yes, are like perfect, because now they can release it on streaming and lose none of the integrity that they are trying to go for, because this is very much like a premium sort of event.
So here's the thing about this, right? Is that this is one of the big selling points they pushed with HBO Max. And HBO Max ain't doing so hot. In fact, it's doing so poorly that 2 top executives in Warner Media Company got shit canned because of its poor performance. So they're really banking hard on all these fucking, DCEU apologists to drive up their subscription numbers with the Snyder Cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
which is why I think there's credence to Jake's theory that this will be a mini-series released over a long period of time, because they want to get extra subscription money from people.
Yeah. Much like why Disney Plus released. Well, I don't know when Mandalorian came out for Disney Plus, but like that was big into the releasing episodically every week, just so people didn't get like their one free weekend and then they're done. It was like, hold on to your subscription for at least a couple months so you can see it in entirety. And I think that's what we're gonna get here. It's just it's because it's much more digestible too, right? And I think it's easier to cut together. If you think about like all the stuff that he has shot, it doesn't make sense that is going to be coherent right out the bat. But if you segment it into different parts, into episodic
It'll still
stuff,
be incoherent. It'll just be easier to watch.
Easier to watch, yeah. You're going to be like, okay, what's this episode about? Okay, and you don't have to worry about transition, so it's like a cheap shot, too, to like pin it all together.
I like the way you think, Jake.
So I think they're kind of killing 2 birds with one stone, making a 4-hour movie easier to digest over time, while also creating hype, and also keeping people in the subscription hell that we find ourselves in today with all of our
making your way on the net today. It takes all the money you got.
Yeah.
So we thought it'd be cheaper than cable.
We thought.
Where everybody knows your credit card. Dun, dun, dun.
Everybody, no, you can keep everybody knows your name and home address too.
And they're always glad you paid.
Do. That's all I know of the Cheers.
Cheers. The streaming service. It's just all Cheers. I feel it. I almost feel like The Office should have just tried. They should have tried to make their own just pure Office streaming service.
Isn't that basically what Peacock is?
I think so.
They're taking.
Although you should be able to watch 30 Rock on there, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing about these very narrow, specific streaming services. At least right now, there are existing streaming rights contracts owned by other services. For example, 30 Rock is still available on Hulu, and I believe will be at least through 2022. So if you're a big 30 Rock person and you would otherwise like consider Peacock if it had 30 Rock, no need. Hulu's on there, and it's got like 8 other networks that have their content on there. Like the excellent Mike Tyson Mysteries. You should all watch Mike Tyson Mysteries. It's fucking great. And the same is true for things like Seinfeld. Seinfeld's on Hulu. So like all these hit, and then it's coming to Netflix too. So all these really hit shows that these network dependent, like your CBS All Access, your Peacock, HBO Max, I guess, but that has a slightly bigger umbrella. They're all very narrow, and a lot of their key pieces are available to watch on the big three: your Prime, your Hulu, your Netflix. I think we can all agree that those are the big three streaming services.
I would say so.
So it really demotivates you from investing in these other streaming services, especially in HBO Max, which costs more than any of them, unless you're a snob like me and have to have the 4K Netflix, which costs $17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll see a future where HBO Max starts to get offered in cable packages a little bit more, or phone packages, which there probably already is.
Interestingly enough, it's available as an add-on to your Hulu.
I've seen that, yes.
It's the same price, but you just get billed from one singular source.
Nifty.
Maybe over time, maybe if Hulu starts to like see that there's some interest in HBO Max and their library gets pumped up with a little bit more exclusive stuff, Hulu will start to maybe what's the word I'm thinking of, kind of shoulder some of that cost and give you a discount for getting HBO Max, and maybe that's a little bit of an incentive to push a lot of people over the edge.
So like the Disney owns a majority stake in Hulu now, just by virtue of owning ABC, Fox, and a couple other networks that make up Hulu. So I don't foresee, unless they can work out some sort of a deal with AOL Time Warner or whatever the company is now, to subsidize the cost. I don't foresee them offering a bundle, because right now they do have the bundle because they own ESPN as well. So it's ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus for $12.99.
Well,
or more, depending upon what add-ons you put to your Hulu.
That made me chuckle because, like, I'm thinking of like how long until we just see our streaming services start to become cable packages? Because now you can get Disney, Hulu, ESPN. Hey, maybe they could strike a deal with HBO. That's 4 things in one package possibly that we could see eventually. And maybe that's Disney's end game, is that we come up with a deal so sweet for a premium price with all these bundled in to try to snuff out Netflix. Because now people are like, well, I got to start to trim the fat somewhere. I have 4 streaming services over here.
I think I kind of agree with you there, Jake. So
maybe
my idea on this in relation to yours is what they'll do is the industry will get degenerate, and profit margins will get increasingly thin. It's a race to the bottom sort of deal, right? Race to be cheapest. But Disney has the capital, or at least the size, to just fucking go for it. They'll play chicken with anybody, and they'll give the sweetheart deal. They'll pull everyone, and once you strangle the edge case and you thin down the market a little bit, then they can just make those margins roaring back and jack up those streaming prices.
Yeah. Oh, we're going up $1 or $2 here.
I think we're in the beginning. We're in the stages that are going to determine whether or not this is something that can happen. So HBO Max is struggling mightily. So we're starting to see, and I don't think CBS All Access or Peacock are doing very well either. So we're starting to see that there's a carrying capacity for streaming services on the open market. And if consumers reject these, piecemeal, build your own cable package, essentially, streaming services, all these companies that hold the rights to this content are going to have to acquiesce and accept less money to go under a larger umbrella of one of the bigger streaming services. Could be Disney's umbrella, could be Amazon's umbrella, could be Netflix's umbrella. But if enough people eventually, if they like, sweeten the pot a little bit, or some cool exclusive content comes out, if enough people say, you know what, what's another $10 a month? What's another $15 a month? And they buy into these, then we are probably going to see like, here's your streaming package. It's $99 a month, and you get access to these services with this content library, yada, yada, yada. But I think we're not going to see that, just because you reach a point where there's too much content. And I think we're already past that point, quite honestly. Sure. Because like even just the streaming services we have, there's just so much content where you just have like analysis paralysis, and you don't know what to fucking watch, and you just like spend a month scrolling through the library being like, oh, that looks interesting, but never actually watching anything.
Yeah, like I would have no time to watch all the new shit that's on Netflix and anywhere. There's just too much stuff. There's too much content. I have to like cherry pick what I want to watch.
Yes, I definitely agree there. And a lot of it's just garbage. But I will dovetail all this stuff into a weird segue, because this week I did in fact do a free trial of HBO Max. I'm planning to only do the free trial because I only want to watch one show. And
the Not So Late Show with Elmo?
I should probably do that too before it expires. It's Infinity Train Book 3. You've heard my review on the second and first books. This one, it just goes on, and it's been even better. I think there's like 2 episodes left, and the whole series finishes up on Thursday. I know they're trying for a 4th season, but it's kind of wavering on that point. But either way, I would again highly recommend the season. I'd recommend you watch all 3. It's very bingeable, very watchable, and I can run through the whole thing and not have to pay the fucking $15 for the month for the one thing I want to watch.
So there's a free trial going on right now?
7 days.
I might want to do that because I actually kind of want to check out Close Enough.
If you want to do that, we could. Well, this is a discussion for offline, but
yes,
the Great Streaming Collective needs to deliberate on how to coordinate our free trials, because we have 4 emails between us, and I'm already using mine.
We can possibly get a 5th. I know a person who might be able to give us a 5th week.
I'll start coming up with junk emails.
We got 5 rounds in the chamber here.
I'll bring out my old Jeezy Creasy 69 at AOL.com.
This is fucking Russian roulette with email addresses here.
This is what happens, streaming services.
We do still have some other trailers I want to briefly touch on. We have Death on the Nile, which is another adaptation of a Hercule Poirot Agatha Christie mystery.
I was like, this is a ripoff of Murder on the Orient Express, and then I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. I did give a favorable review to the more recent Murder on the Orient Express. Looking back on it, I don't know if I would give it the same score. I think I gave it a 6.3. I would probably maybe give it a 6 even, thinking on it a little more. It wasn't terrible, but I don't know that I'm super excited to see a follow-up to that, although it's treading new ground. Like, for some reason, I think Murder on the Orient Express was the only Agatha Christie novel to ever receive a, like, big time adaptation. Like, there have been others, I'm sure, like made for TV, like Hallmark Channel or whatever, but in terms of like the star power that both Murder on the Orient Express has had, not quite for their novels. Although this, they really kind of scraped, I don't want to say they scraped the bottom of the barrel, but compared to the first one, the star power is definitely lacking. I mean, the headliners are Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer, which well, not small names are not exactly the heavy hitters of Murder on the Orient Express.
Trying to pull up who is the big hitters. I mean, the first one
had Johnny Depp. It had James Judi Dench. Willem Dafoe, I believe, was in that movie as well.
Interesting.
Daisy Ridley, Leslie Odom Jr. John Depp. I have to go to the full cast. Oh God.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
How far
Penelope
down
Cruz, Willem Dafoe, Judi Dench, Johnny Depp, Josh Gad, Michelle Pfeiffer, Daisy Ridley, Tom Bateman. Lot of star power. Just like the one prior, I think, had like Frank Sinatra and other guys in there.
It's a classic story, and you can just no one feels bad about being in it unless you're trying to do some off the wall insane adaptation.
Yeah,
You
like
know, it's like Batman movies. You know, most people are like, yeah, I want to be Batman, unless you're George Clooney, in which case that didn't work out so well.
George Clooney did not really care about being Batman. He was just there to collect a paycheck.
Look, the thing that excites me about this movie is that I just hope there's going to be an extended universe of some sort of death, murder, killing.
What are some other famous
transportation.
Hercule?
You're aware
Poirot?
that there was an author, Agatha Christie, and she wrote a
No.
series of novels
No.
starring Detective Hercule Poirot, correct?
No, I did not know that.
Well,
Yeah, it's like the French. It's like French Sherlock Holmes almost. Even
Yeah,
though
except
it was
they,
written
like,
by
they
an English woman.
they don't put any like super real clues, and then it's just the detective comes up with a conclusion that is not really hinted at in the bulk of the book out of nowhere. So you kind of get a little frustrated.
She has a few books written. I see she has a few books.
Yeah,
written.
it's like
a
you know,
lot of
just,
them deal with death, so they have a lot of source material apparently.
What
Appointment
time
with
period
Death.
was she alive for? Was she writing in?
I want to say the 40s.
Oh, okay.
But like, you can't just go back to a train. You can't. Like, you have to go. So is there a plane one now? Like, the killing on the plane. I don't know. I'm just rambling off.
Someone died. Like there was like venom poisoning on the aircraft, and they find out that it was snakes on a plane.
Yeah, I was about to say that there were some snakes. Actually, apparently, it seems like the 20s were when she did her. The Mysterious Affair. The Mysterious Affair at Styles was the first book featuring Hercule Poirot, and was published in 1920.
Okay, but the mysterious affair isn't a death, Agatha Christie. You know, you gotta have a death, killing, follow your trend. Man, she
Like
should've came to me for
Thanks
a
Killing.
I
Did
mean,
Agatha
if
Christie
that's
write
her
Thanks
first-
Killing?
If that's her first book, then there's no trend to follow.
I don't care. She should have had this shit planned out.
Line graphs go both ways. Come on now.
Oh, then 22 years later, she's like, fuck it. Forget the trend. 5 Little Pigs. Okay. Okay, Agatha.
Well, Stephen King has written a number of children's books under a pseudonym.
Really?
Yes.
Was he as coked out as he was when he wrote
No, I
all of
believe
those
this
shit?
was. I believe this was well after
New Age King?
after his cocaine addiction subsided.
Look,
He had already written Misery and gotten it out of his system.
cocaine can't be all that bad. The man wrote a book. So
Man wrote several books on cocaine and directed a movie. If you ever want to see, I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you ever want to see what a man high on coke looks like, look up the trailer for Maximum Overdrive, the one that Stephen King himself presents, and you will see a man high on cocaine.
man,
Oh,
cocaine's
God.
pretty cool, isn't it?
It's a hell of a drug, I'm told.
I've heard people could have the power to move entire couches on it.
Yes, live couches of several flights of stairs and and the TV that they could not lift the next morning. Totally, just hearsay. Obviously, I would have no firsthand knowledge of what any of this is like. Just like I have no firsthand knowledge of what it's like to have a daughter. Like Bill Murray has a daughter in On the Rocks, starring Bill Murray and Rashida Jones. It's a movie about a woman who's stuck in a rut and her husband's traveling a lot and her father's convinced that he's having an affair on her, and hijinks ensue. And it looks like a Woody Allen movie, honestly, but it's Sofia Coppola. I don't know if she's related to Francis Ford Coppola or not.
I'm almost positive she is. Very famous.
I suppose I can look that up right now.
This also has Marlon Wayans in it. So it looks pretty cool. But I don't know, it just had a weird vibe with me. Like the dad was trying to convince his daughter that the guy's trash. Maybe he is. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet, so
he's trash.
But it's kind of he's trying to set the good example for her and be like, this is what you should be, what you should have in a husband, and what you should expect, which is a good, not all that bad, but I mean, usually that stuff is said before you find their husband.
I think the general premise here is that Bill Murray's character is a scumbag. So he knows a scumbag. It takes one to know one, sort of thing, I guess.
Gotcha.
So
he doesn't want that for his daughter, obviously.
Obviously,
even though he's a jerk. But okay.
I mean, he's a scumbag. Doesn't mean he can't be a wonderful and caring father.
True. He can be a scumbag. Yeah, so I don't know. It looks good. It's good to see Bill Murray in another movie, and looks like it has some good wit in it. I don't think it's going to be like a falling off my chair haha movie, but I think there's going to be quite a bit of japes, goofs, and gaffs from Bill Murray, which I'm happy to see that, to be honest.
This isn't the first time that Miss Coppola, who is in fact the daughter of Frank Coppola, has worked with Mr. Murray. They, in fact, did the 2015 holiday special, A Very Murray Christmas, together. That's on Netflix, presumably still. Also worked together on Lost in Translation.
Interesting.
So they actually have quite a bit of history.
All right, cool.
Together.
So
I was not aware of that.
My thing about all this is I didn't see the trailer. So the thing that's running through my head is Coppola sounds like that's what it was. It sounded like a food item, and I thought it was a cheese. But I realized that Coppola sounds like capricola, the kind of ham.
Capicola?
Capicola.
The R is not pronounced, at least not in the Bostonian dialect of English.
Capicola.
Sophia Capicola, eh?
It's not a sandwich unless you got capicola on
Get
it.
a nice hoagie with some provolone. Got some salami, some
Mortadella.
capicola.
That's how you do it. You get your ham, you get your salami, you get your capicola, you get your provolone cheese, you get your pepperoni on there, and you put some Italian dressing on it, and you got yourself a sandwich.
Boom. Bob bing, bob boom. If you want a little spicy mustard, adds a little zest, go wow. There you go.
Jake channeling every bit of Italian he's got.
I feel it through my blood. Just...
The blood thickens and becomes marinara sauce.
I got spaghetti over here.
Somebody touch my spaghetti.
It was Stephen.
It is not a conscious effort that my fingers are now like this now. Just I can't move them back. I have to let that subside.
It's like a spasm.
It's a reaction of my blood turning to marinara.
Just locks it up.
Locks it up nice and viscous, like a mama made it.
All right, so let's follow up on some of the movies we talk about in Trey Watch in our box office roundup segment we call the follow-up. Number one movie in America this week is, or for August 14th through 16th weekend, SpongeBob movie, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. They released it into theaters, 300 of them, in fact, and it brought in a whopping $865,000.
Wow. Oh God.
What is cuties?
Oh wait, do you guys not
Cuties-
know?
Oh no, I read I saw the headline, I should say.
I feel like we should make.
Wait,
I'm
is
sorry,
that the
I
Netflix
typed it out.
movie?
I asked these guys if we should talk about cuties because it's going to be in the news all this week and probably next week. I don't want to talk about it too much. Only just a cursory mention because I want it to pass. Because it's total.
Oh.
It's a fucking load of weird marketing, like
Yes,
clusterfuck controversy.
The French movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did hear about that. Sorry.
So this was a French movie built about coming of age, and the standards we place on children today, and how they're portrayed in an adult manner, but inadvertently or inadvertently, the marketing manager at Netflix made a super grody poster that basically mismarkets the entire movie as some weird kiddie porn thing, and there is massive like backlash, outrage.
Well, all it takes is like you simply just
rage
compare it to
planes
the
and
French
automobiles.
poster. And the French poster is just looks like a different movie, and it more represents, I think, the goal of the movie, which is that coming of age, that young girls trying to express themselves and find something that they are talented in and have fun with. And I mean, that's what the cover is. They're walking down a block. They're
shopping or
dressed
whatever.
as normal clothes, and they're it looks like they're shopping, shopping for outfits or whatever. And a little background, I mean, they're dancers. And then the American Netflix poster is just them on stage in
like
the
toddlers
full
and
garb.
tiaras, pageantry,
Yeah.
onesies.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of that portraying the movie as like their coming of age story, like finding their passion, expressing themselves, it's a little girls on stage twerking. Little girls.
Little girls.
Half naked little girls.
This is the most actual like little girls moment
Little girls.
Yeah.
that we've currently
Jake was
had.
very disappointed to learn that the movie was not, in fact, about that.
Little bored.
Little boys.
Time for my parody movie. I'll fund it. I'll
So-
find a way.
That's all I want to say. There's controversy. I don't want to contribute to it too much. I've
Yeah.
already said quite enough on the subject. Let's leave it and let it die.
Yeah. I don't
'Cause
care.
Otherwise, the dead don't die. By Sturgill Simpson.
It's a French movie. They have very lax standards on that sort of thing, so it's just all. Of course you do.
Let's continue.
So anyway, the
following up.
SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, #1 movie in America this week. 300 theaters, $865,000.
He doesn't twerk in this one, right?
I hope not. No international release, surprisingly. All domestic thus far. Unhinged, #2 movie in America. Fat Russell Crowe, bringing in $601,000 in 299 theaters. There's just that one theater that's like, nah, no thank you.
We had a COVID outbreak. After the SpongeBob movie, we had a COVID outbreak.
I heard that kids are like they're like bigger carriers. They carry higher viral loads.
Oh, you're telling me that kids with questionable hygiene practices are more effective at transmitting diseases than adults?
I was actually
Hi,
just
Mom.
talking. I was actually just talking to my friend about that. About the study that came out that was like, kids who are hospitalized have a higher viral load than adults. And I'm like, yeah, if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. Kids are more resilient, so it takes a lot more COVIDs to get them into the hospital.
Higher
than
degree
adults.
of Rona.
Higher Ronas. I put it in terms of M&Ms. I was like, yeah, it takes a lot more M&Ms to get a kid sick, to get him into the hospital than it does for an adult. So that kind of makes sense. But
Like a child's immune system is the French during the Napoleonic Wars, whereas my immune system is like the French during the World Wars. There's secret resistance, which I barely see.
My
like that.
immune system.
I'm deadly vulnerable.
My immune system is like I don't know. Just name a nation that's never successfully been invaded. That's my immune system.
The Sentinelese.
Madagascar.
You're a North Sentinel Island. Remember
Yeah,
that missionary who went in there, and everyone's like, "No, we're not going to get you. You're fucked,
well,
kid."
all the people are like they're in the Bronze Age or some shit because they found a boat.
They're still like they have native tribesmen who are, I don't know, whatever your opinion on it, they're very against any sort of colonization. I guess I don't blame them, considering what every other tribal nation
Colonization
has
doesn't
gone
work
through.
well for the people being colonized generally.
Yeah, so they're pretty staunch about this shit, and as a result, no one goes there. Really, no one. A missionary tried once, a couple times, and every time a missionary goes over there to try and convert them, the world government at large is like, "No, I'm not going there. You're dead. Good luck."
What if we eventually go there and they all just have like Zunes? That's where the Zunes went.
That's where this.
There were some really
conquerors
good
send
Zunes.
blankets. We send Zunes.
Microsoft was just like, we don't need these.
No,
Fuck it, I don't
small
care. Use
pox
them as
blankets.
bricks
It's
for a
COVID
house.
Zunes.
Honestly, the last couple models of Zune were much better than any iPod Apple ever put out.
Yeah, but
I
nobody's
believe
gonna
marketing-
actually get a Zune.
I knew people with
Angry
Zunes.
Birds.
I knew people with Zunes.
I did too.
I thought about getting a Zune.
Anyway, Unhinged is our
Sorry,
spotlight film
Unhinged.
of the week. It could be no other film. It truly could not.
Yeah.
Unhinged currently sitting at a surprisingly high 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, with a more predictable 41 on Metacritic, indicating mixed reviews toward the lower end, mixed generally negative. But fuck all that. Professional critics don't know nothing about no Russell Crowe gaining 100 pounds. You gotta go to the streets, and the streets is the IMDb user review section, where we find the true insight as to whether a movie's good, bad, or somewhere in the middle. I'll begin because Bauer's Apprentice is spelt wrong, has a strong positive opinion on Unhinged. 10 out of 10. Perfect in every way. Russell Crowe's depiction of a MAGA supporter's reaction, there's no apostrophe, by the way, when confronted with truthful facts is incredible in this movie. The only thing missing is a red cap and Twitter updates about how all of what is happening is because of fake news and the radical left. Physically and mentally, Crowe plays the perfect part of an angry, short, phallus Republican down to a T. Aside from yelling racial slurs and having an inter-family relationship with his sister, the film is accurate in every way. 2 out of 3 people found that helpful.
This,
Oh my God.
this sets the tone really for the whole review section, because I have about 5 that I have to choose from, and they're all gold. But I have to, like, I'm spoiled for choice here.
I'm spoiled for choice too. I got 14 1-stars. Well, I'll tell you who disagrees with that 10 out of 10. Because IMDb 020-643-129772 on August 5th said not worth your time. At the first 10 minutes, you start thinking that the heroine is stupid. No, I start thinking that heroin's fucking great and this is a good high. Then you start thinking that everyone around her is stupid. Then you start thinking that the police are stupid. But, in fact, the story and directing are stupid. I wanted to leave the cinema, and the only thing that made me watch this till the end is that it's hell hot outside. The trailer for this movie is better than the movie itself. 27 out of 46 found that helpful. It's hell hot.
Hell hot.
Sure is.
Hell hot.
Sure is, my guy.
Hell should be hot, yeah. That tracks.
I want to give a shout out. Again, I spoiled for choice. I want to give a big shout out to Field 78's review. It's a 5 out of 10. It is 6 paragraphs. It's a fairly in-depth review. It's called Unhinged, adjective meaning unbalanced. A lot like this movie. And he has this big old fucking in-depth analysis, and 57 out of 83 people found it helpful. A lot of people read this one. This is probably a good one, but I'm not going to read it on the air because we have fucking Snob Reviews review 5 out of 10 talk about white problems. I'm going to read this shit instead.
Preach, brother.
I'm often stalked by a homicidal fat man.
Hashtag white people probs.
There's no doubt that Unhinged is the most what-the-fuck rage-tastic popcorn flick we've seen in years. But can this film get any whiter? Read my thoughts below. In this thriller, a woman's confrontation with an unstable man at an intersection turns a random traffic encounter to a target of rage. Upon leaving Unhinged, I felt conflicted. Why conflicted? Because Russell Crowe hasn't had a monstrous and solid role like this in years, and Karen Pistorius also delivered a hefty performance as the woman on the run trying to protect those around her. Both performances were good. On the other hand, while watching, I couldn't help but think, can this movie get any whiter? Here's a white man pissed off about a traffic altercation, chasing a white woman because she didn't apologize to him. Talk about white privilege. Chill out, dude. Yes, there's more to the entire story, but in the end, it's all about a traffic altercation. There's no denying that Unhinged is pure popcorn entertainment with a B-movie feel, but it's ultimately ridiculous in a real world. Follow @StopMedia for all reviews. 0 out of 4 found this helpful.
So would it have been better if the chaser or chasee were black?
I don't know, dude.
I don't understand how race has anything to do with that review.
How do we take color out of movies? Can we just is there a tool where you just
Yes,
make everybody look
Technicolor.
the same?
That's
Yes,
what we
you
figured.
just hit S on your keyboard in Adobe Premiere and you crank that slider down to 0.
kind of want to see some movies that were supposed to be racist. Just no
Jake,
color.
I want you to
Everybody's
read
the
this
same.
review when it comes time.
Okay.
Okay, so David _Royce has a rebuttal. 9 out of 10, submitted August 8th. Intense, brutal, and unforgiving ride. A little dose of Duel, a little sprinkle of Falling Down, and a splashing of Red Eye. Updated for 2020, but still with a 90s feel. A great little popcorn thrill will get you back into the cinemas and forgetting about COVID for an hour and a half. Russell Crowe is frightening and disturbing as a guy having a really bad day. Karen Pistorius plays the young mother who triggers her own day from hell. If you're after a taut standalone thriller with some decent shocks and no CGI, this one's for you. 1 out of 5 found that helpful.
I bet you there was CGI. We just didn't notice it.
There are no real colors in movies anymore. I was told they're all CGI.
Okay, so I gotta give a honorable mention to this who said it?
Gaudy Lee, I think.
Lee.
Got a bad case of the gout.
Lie. Gout lie. He gave it a 2 out of 10. So it was not awful, but not worth the time to see it. Only thing worth your while is to guess how much weight Crowe?
Crew?
Creway?
Crew.
Cryway? I don't know how to pronounce that. I instead of an O for Crow. Has gained. You are warned.
5 out of 12.
Okay, for my actual 1 out of 10, which created this interesting idea in my head. Worst Crow film ever. 1 out of 10 by Haley Dixon.
I mean, some of the Crow sequels were pretty bad. And that's tough competition.
Yeah, so now I'm wondering how many Crow movies has this guy seen, or gal? Are there a lot of Crow movies? Are they good movies?
There are at least 3. The first one was good, but then Brandon Lee died, and then it just wasn't right.
But like, what about movies about crows, like The Bird?
You mean
Are there
the birds?
the bird? Like, are there more? I groaned as much as crow, spelled like the bird, did in this movie, and I think my cringe bucket is overflowing. It was.
Was that a line break? Please
I
tell
like
me
that
was
it's
a
2
break.
lines. It's over. Cringe, bucket, over, flowing.
Bad acting, predictable, unrealistic, poor continuity. I couldn't wait for it to end. 21 out of 40 found this helpful. My bucket is overflowing.
Gonna blow you away.
Why is it flowing? Why is your bucket flowing?
He needs to get that Flex Seal. Stop that leak.
Stop that.
That's a lot of damage.
Finally, we have Denise 99445's review, 6 out of 10. And all Karen had to do was say, "I'm sorry." So because Karen couldn't bring herself to say, "I'm sorry" to the fat man, now let's see, we have 5 dead and 1 badly burned brother. And while we're talking about Russell Crowe's weight, only in Hollywood can an A-lister male actor become almost unrecognizably obese and still be able to headline a movie. But poor Kathleen Turner gains weight and gets old, and Hollywood is ready to ask her to turn in her SAG card. All in all, the movie was mindless fun and gave Russell Crowe a reason to overact. 3 out of 5.
Can we really point to starring in Unhinged as evidence that a A-list actor can get really unrecognizably obese and still have a career? I mean, this, for all intents and purposes, is like one of those red box. This is like The Fanatic. Like, can we say John Travolta's really headlining movies as Moose?
Here's Moosey.
I want to see. Oh, so what other movies has he been in? Also, it's actually kind of funny.
What other movies has Russell Crowe been in?
Like recently, I want to see like how much weight he had to put on. Like, I want to see True History of the Kelly Gang. Okay,
I think the last thing I remember him being in was like the 2011. I want to say Robin Hood, and he was still in pretty good shape at that point in time. But yeah, a long way from his Gladiator days.
Yeah, okay, so he's still portly in True History of the Kelly Gang. He's got a bigger beard in it. It's actually kind of funny, though. Did that review call the main actress Karen with, like, a K, like, as in, like, the stereotypical Karen? The actress's name is actually Karen.
Yeah.
With a C.
Yeah.
Which I find...
So there's your number 2 movie in America. Tax Collector in the 3rd spot. Bringing in $182,000. The Rental in 4th, bringing in $93,000. Peninsula hanging out in 5th. That's actually up a spot from last week. It was in 6th. $79,000. The Silencing opening this week in 6th. Movie about a reformed hunter living in isolation on a wildlife sanctuary and becomes involved in a deadly game of cat and mouse when he and the local sheriff set out to track a vicious killer who may have kidnapped his daughter years ago.
90 minutes of fucking around the woods. Here we come.
Yep. The Big Ugly remains in 7th. Made in Italy goes up a spot to 8th, despite losing nearly 40% of its gross. Spree opens in 9th, making $20,000. That movie is about a thirsty for a following Kurt Kunkel is a rideshare driver who has figured out a deadly plan to go viral.
That's a bad word, isn't it? It has to be.
Cuckoo.
What
That
is
sounds like it has a large density of umlauts.
There are 0 of them, actually.
They edited them out for safety.
And then opening in 10th is American Deep State. For the first time, American people see the possibility that elected governments have to follow rules sent by Washington, D.C.'s bureaucratic institutions. From 1963, JFK's assassination to 2016 Russia collusion conspiracy. So this is a documentary, I guess, about the deep state.
You know, it makes sense that the conspiracy documentary would do very well in the COVID restricted theaters.
I mean, it's
Think about who would go out to a movie.
But in $15,000 in 3 theaters, though. Oh my God, that's probably $5,000 per theater.
Oh my God,
That's
so many people.
I found out what a kunkel is.
I don't think Urban Dictionary results count.
I mean, I don't know that
They count, but they don't
I mean,
count.
like in a movie like Spree, I feel like they're valid. The movie's called Spree. Like,
Spree.
I
like
think
the candy.
yes,
I
Spree.
like Spree candy.
They're all right. They're
It's-
like
it's-
worse sweet tarts.
They're very hard. They're
Yeah,
very hard.
I have like a couple of chipped teeth, and I attribute them to Spree.
Bite down on
Let's
the
let's move on to gaming news, shall we? Because we gotta
Yeah.
we gotta plow through
sure.
this segment because I got a game review that's gonna be lengthy, and then we gotta talk about cartels.
Ugh.
The Marvel
I groan every time I hear that movie name.
Marvel Avengers open beta starts August 21st. That's today, or it will be yesterday, as many of you will hear this. All of you actually, because this won't release until Saturday at 3.
Except for Jake's girlfriend. She'll hear it ahead of time.
Yeah, I'll Jake, give me her number so I can email
Give her the
clip.
shoot her the promo.
The hot take. The hot takes of Jake. Hey, there's a segment. I like that.
Hot Jake's.
Hot Jakes. It's hot takes from Jake. That will definitely get me in trouble. Anyways, continue.
When has that ever fucking stopped you from saying anything? No, that's it. If you want to get in on the open beta of Marvel's Avengers, so you can complain about how the game doesn't feel polished because it's in fucking beta, you can do so.
This doesn't look like the movies.
That's I mean that's an actual complaint that the characters don't look like they do in the movies.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. The officially licensed clone of the Xbox Duke controller is $20 off, meaning you can pick it up for a cool $49.99. Made by Hyperkin, but officially licensed by Microsoft. You can get yourself the replica Duke controller if you have gorilla hands or know a gamer who has gorilla hands.
Or if you want a home self-defense system
Yes.
and you don't feel like buying a shotgun or
It's a lot cheaper
big
than ADT
knife.
security.
You just wedge it under the door and they can't get in.
And
I just say
failing
you
that, you
prop
can
it
just
up.
beat him with it.
it's like a mace. It's like a flail.
You hold out in front of you.
real.
whoosh.
Yeah, it's just a Morning Star.
Oh, you need a license for that.
That's the real reason they redesigned it. It wasn't because it was difficult to use. It was because they were getting sued from all the murder victims.
Yeah, there was a lot of accidental deaths based off the Duke control.
We learned a couple years after Xbox came out that Bill Gates was actually a Knights Templar. He was in the Crusades. That's why he wanted to harken back to
Bill
that time.
Gates was in the Crusades. He found
That's
the
right.
chalice of youth. He drank from the Holy Grail. He chose wisely.
That was back when Windows was stained glass. That was the first
I would
Silicon
love-
Valley. Still very white.
I would love for that to be like a redesign for like a Windows, I don't know, 11 or whatever. Windows Crusades with stained glass.
I'm pretty sure that's just Temple OS.
Oh God.
Speaking of operating systems, Linux founder Linus Torvalds, never a man to mince words about how he feels about something, wished a painful death on Intel's AVX 512 instruction set. And in response, Intel's Raja Koduri has offered a defense of it in the face of the questions from PC World's Mr. Lovely Gordon Ma. It's okay. I'm going to stop that. Hold on. Let's see. Back in July, Torvald was hanging out in a forum spread speculating on the potential absence of the AVX 512 in the upcoming Intel Alder Lake platform when he chose to call out the feature and called on Intel to start fixing real problems instead of trying to create benchmarks that they can look good on. At Intel Architecture Day this month, PC World quizzed Koduri on Torvald's comments, to which he responded by saying, AVX 512 is a great feature. Our HPC community, AI community love it. Our customers on the data center side really, really love it. For context about the gruffness of one Linus Torvald,
He sounds like a Bond villain.
fucking
Linus Torvald.
hilarious. He once, in response to patch notes for an update of the Linux kernel, said that some of the people suggesting these suggesting patches should be retroactively aborted. And when questioned at a college, he gave a talk at a college, and he was questioned about that. He's like, "No, I don't mind you bringing that up. I could see how some people would find that to be a little abrasive, but I was raised in a culture that's a lot less concerned about being politically correct than America."
Oh gosh.
If you ever have some spare time, look up Linus Torvald interviews. They're great. He's never one to mince words. He, in fact, on stage in front of a large audience, said "fuck you, NVIDIA," and flipped the camera up.
Yeah. It's not surprising, but it needs to be restated that weird eccentricity correlates highly with programming skill.
I don't know if it's even eccentricity. I think he just doesn't give a fuck.
I think, like, I guess notoriety and we, social, bluntness, I guess, like you said. Because I'm thinking of, fucking John McAfee.
Oh, John McAfee, yeah.
John McAfee.
Man who's fucking allegedly done some pretty crazy shit in his life.
Dude fucking lives like fantasy villains live. And as we said, the fucking Temple OS, that entire thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I've plugged this before, but if you ever have an hour you want to kill, there's a channel on YouTube called Down the Rabbit Hole, and they did a whole episode on Temple OS and the man behind it, and it's a fascinating case study on what legitimate mental illness looks like.
Apparently computer coding is the closest we have to the study of the Eldritch Gods, because you look too deep into the codosphere and you just go insane.
I saw a video on YouTube. It popped up in my recommendations for some reason, probably because I was watching Linus Torvald interviews, and it's like how code is submitted and reviewed at big companies, and it's a junior engineer typing some code, and he gets an error, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he deletes a section of the code, and it works, and he's like, "I have no idea what I'm doing." And he sends it to the senior engineer who's working from home, and he looks over it, and he's like, "I have no idea what I'm looking at." And he just writes back, "Looks good to me."
That's how MTGO is developed.
Yeah. For real.
No, that was the most Italian program because that's all spaghetti code.
Yeah.
God. Here, let's write 15 years of exceptions for new fucking patches. Oh, God.
They were students of the Gotta Catch 'Em All School of Programming, which is so named after the first generation Pokemon games, which were programmed in such a way that if an exception occurred, the game would ignore the exception as long as it possibly could before everything locked up and crashed. That's how you get things like Missing No.
The game corrupts itself. Oh, God.
So, have you heard of the game Fall Guys?
I have.
I got
My
it
friends
as a
were
birthday
playing
present.
So I wanted to. Every now and then, there's like the occasional game that everybody plays.
Yeah, well, I don't know why it's so hype.
And this might be one of them. I don't imagine this like becoming Fortnite level of popularity, but right now everybody's playing it. Every streamer, you name it, they're all playing it. But they did something really cool. Their character designs are very simple, and they have skins you can either buy or win. And I think what they're doing now is they're trying to like kind of sell their platform by brands being like, design a skin for me to promote my website. And the way they're doing it is by something with they're calling it Battle of the Brands. And they're having people donate to a charity called At Special Effect, which is a UK-based gaming charity where they help serve kids with like disabilities, try to game, and I think I've seen a lot of videos where they create special game pads and stuff like that, so they can play. So it suits them and their disability. And it seems like a really authentic, really cool thing for them to do. And Mr. Beast obviously jumped in there and started throwing around, do one based off my company. I donate $100,000. And he's just trying to top people. And I think the latest one was Ninja, who donated $420,000 and $69. $420,069. So $420.69.
Funny.
Yeah, nice.
Which is haha. Yeah,
haha, meme number.
Yeah, but they I don't know, I think it's a cool thing. They have a lot of brands who are donating to this obviously pretty cool charity that the person believed in, and I was just scrolling through some of their Twitter page, and they're pretty funny. The Fall, whoever owns the Fall Guys thing is a memester.
It's probably why it got so popular on Twitch.
Yeah,
he knew how to market it.
Might have something.
Yeah, I think his marketing game is certainly on point.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang hypes up the second half of 2020 as it will be the best gaming season ever. We're 2 months into the second half of 2020, and other than Fall Guys, I'm not quite sure what big games have come out.
Slim pickings, kids.
We got a decent Halo 3 port.
I mean, Cyberpunk
we don't get Halo Infinite.
Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out in November.
Unless it's delayed.
We should
Halo
talk.
Infinite did get delayed to 21.
There is one game that doesn't even have a release date. I am hyped for it, though. We saw a teaser for it. It's Bomb Rush Megafunk, or Cyberfunk, I believe. It was Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. So, this is a 15-sec... The only reason we're commenting on this is because it's related to our interests. So, it's like a 15-second teaser of... so, Team Reptiles, they're working on a new game. The last game they worked on was Lethal League. And they're just going full Jet Set Radio. So the meaningful difference is that they're not on skates. They just run. You still get to grind and do all the fun stuff and probably do graffiti. And there's a cool track, and Naganuma's he's on the soundtrack, and it's all hunky dory. But we didn't mention it's been out for 3 weeks, and I somehow didn't realize it.
Yeah, it never got to me either.
it is basically the spiritual successor to the game that we both love, and we would, if I, I am now clamoring for it. Long story short, I will cling to these 15 seconds until another trailer comes out.
Yeah, especially with getting Hideki Naganuma to do the soundtrack. That's big. That's huge. And so, if nothing else, the game will have kick-ass music.
Mm-hmm. But that's not coming out this year.
Yeah, no. Bethesda has provided a disappointing update on The Elder Scrolls 6, and the update is they have nothing to update you on. They've got nothing to say on the matter, and it'll be, according to Pete Hines, it'll be a long time before they have anything to say. They're still working on Starfield, which will come out first, and then that's still, quote, a long way away. So,
just do the fucking No Man's Sky thing and just don't talk about it.
They can't,
and just come out with a game.
They can't take resources away from the PS5 and Xbox Series X ports of Skyrim to focus on Elder Scrolls 6. It just can't be done.
Come on now, guys. Come on now.
Lastly, Hitman 3, the third installment in the rebooted Hitman franchise, which has changed publishers and developers once already, I guess. It was Square Enix, and then it was IO Interactive. But IO Interactive is making this one as well. It's set to release in 2021 and will be an Epic Games exclusive. We don't know yet if it's a timed exclusive like Borderlands 3 and several other exclusives have been on Epic, or if it will just permanently be an Epic exclusive. No information on that. But at least if you want to play it on release, you will have to purchase it through the Epic Game Store, which, honestly, not really that big a deal. I was a little annoyed today when I cracked open my physical copy of Doom Eternal and was greeted with a cardboard cutout with a code that I had to redeem through Bethesda.net and use the Bethesda launcher to install. But hey, it was $30 cheaper than the Steam version. So
what the fuck? How is
Jeez.
How much? Like I just think anything is $30 cheaper between versions, and it
was $29.99. I bought it through GameStop, but apparently it's that price on Bethesda.net regularly.
Oh wow!
And on Steam, it's still $59.99. It was on sale for $29.99 last week. And I wanted to scoop it up then, but I forgot about it. And then when I checked again, it's back up to $60. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I bought $20 worth of games on my Switch and Doom Eternal through Bethesda.net. And I think that was money better spent than just getting Doom Eternal.
I'd say so.
So I have yet to crack that into that. I will confess I've never finished the campaign to Doom 2016, so I kind of want to do that before I play Doom Eternal.
Mm-hmm. I did. It's a good run through.
I'm close. Fun. No, like I was like 2 levels away, and then I just stopped for a long time, and then I picked it back up this week.
I think that's what happened. There was a big gap period between when I started playing it, and then I think I upgraded my computer, and I'm like, oh, I bet it's better now. Yeah. It was. Actually, I'm jealous. I kind of want to play Doom Eternal because I kept on watching gameplay of it, and it looks really fun and a little bit different than the 2016 version.
Yeah, I figure I gotta play some games that actually came out in 2020 so I can, accurately award a Game of the Year for 2020 because that's a responsibility I have for the show.
I'm just gonna pick one I haven't played yet, and then just award it Game of the Year, forever.
What is this, Mario 2?
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of sequels, I played and finished Half-Life 2. I started it last week, and I finished it on Monday. So Half-Life 2 owns a world record. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Do you want to take a guess at what world record it holds?
I have no idea. Is it hilarious? Like a hilariously telling world record?
Well,
Most amount of things falling on your head in the game.
it is the highest rated shooter of all time on Metacritic.com, having a score of 98. Near perfect score. Knowing this and having played the game, I have one question. Why? This game is terrible. It's not even like it's not even a situation where it's not as good as everyone claims it is. It's just not good. Like, the last 4 chapters are the only good part of the game, and just as the game's getting good, it ends abruptly with no, like, denouement, no falling action. It's just climax, end. Game's over. Go home. Play episode 1 and 2 when they come out in several years. And I just can't understand why this game's so beloved. And I looked at videos, I looked at old forum posts. I'm like, is there something I'm missing? But I felt like I was taking crazy pills, because a lot of the shit I hated about Half-Life 2 was like stuff people were like, oh, no, this is like the great things. For example, there's a level very early on in the game called Water Hazard. And in Water Hazard, you drive a fan boat through the level. And I have to issue just the sincerest of apologies to everyone at BioWare who worked on Mass Effect 1 and programmed the Mako controls. I'm sorry. I gave you guys way too much shit, because apparently vehicle controls are hard. Because Half-Life 2's vehicles control like ass. Even on a control, they're basically undrivable with a keyboard and mouse. I had to switch to a gamepad, and even then, it handles worse than the Mako. Hand to God. Because in Borderlands 3 and other games, you know, they have the sense that when you get in a vehicle, they pull out to a third-person perspective, because it's easier to steer that way. But Valve says, nah, brah, we're going to keep it first person the entire game, because immersion. But the consequence of that is you can't fucking drive this fucking fan boat. And as you're going through this level, which goes on for goddamn ever, it's like a 2-hour level where the whole level is this. You drive the fan boat. You have to get out to clear some obstacles. You have to kill an enemy or solve a bullshit physics puzzle, and then you keep driving the fan boat. And I played this for like 90 minutes, or maybe it was like an hour and a half, and then I reached this checkpoint where like you get out of the fan boat, you meet up with other people in the Resistance, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I can move on with the game. I'll pick it up tomorrow, and I'll have the whole game ahead of me. But no, that was just a checkpoint where they put a gun on your fan boat so you can fight back against the helicopter that's following you. And then you have another fucking hour of the fan boat. People praise the pacing of this game. That's one thing that I saw consistently praised for this game. The pacing on this game is fucking dog shit. It's not good until the final 4 chapters. And then the game ends. So here's the game. You start in City 17, which is admittedly a very interesting place that I would have liked to explore. But Valve was like, nah, only 20 minutes in there. We got to get on with the story, which is super contrived and retcons the story of Half-Life 1. There are characters that were supposedly in Half-Life 1 that weren't actually in the game. They updated 2 of the character models of the myriad scientist NPCs that were recycled time and time again. And like, oh, this is Dr. Eli Vance and Dr. Kleiner. You remember them, right? And I'm like, no, because they didn't fucking exist in the first game. Here's Barney Calhoun. You remember him? Yes, actually, because Gearbox made a game starring him called Half-Life Blue Shift. He's the only one that actually exists. Alex, she's a character you know, right? No, she's new to this game and new to the continuity, but she's Eli's father. Apparently you were really close with Eli and Dr. Kleiner, despite having only worked at Black Mesa for a month as a research associate. But let's ignore all those plot details because we gotta set up this game. Half-Life 2 is basically a protracted demo for the Source engine that they slap the Half-Life license on to sell more copies. And somehow people think this is the greatest game ever made. It is not. It's not even the best game of 2004. Fuck, it's not even the best first-person shooter of 2004. Halo 2 came out like 3 weeks before Half-Life 2. Much better gunplay. The gunplay in Half-Life 2 is piss poor. There's no enemies don't react to you shooting them. The fucking sound effects and peripheral like bullet spray and stuff just isn't there. It's the most unsatisfying feeling to shoot these guns. And in a first-person shooter, that's a big component of the game. In a PC shooter, basically the game is you click on a guy until it dies, right? So clicking on that guy ought to feel pretty fucking good. But it doesn't in Half-Life 2. The gun designs are so uninteresting. There's only one alien weapon, despite Earth being occupied by an alien force. And they had the audacity to have this alien weapon shoot bullets! Regular ass bullets! Why? Why does this alien gun shoot regular fucking bullets?
Because that would be copying Halo.
The Needler didn't shoot regular bullets. And the Needler first appeared in a game 3 years before this. Oh, but the physics engine. Kurt, the physics are so good. Yeah, except for the fact that the game arbitrarily decides which objects are and are not physics interactable.
Wait, do the bullets use physics?
No.
So they use hit scan.
Well, I mean, they're projectile mapped. I don't think they're hit scan. Enemy AI might be hit scan, but there's no like Coriolis effect or anything with bullets. Geez, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, the gunplay fucking sucks, and the enemy AI is worse than it was in Half-Life 1. Physics objects are arbitrarily deigned which can be interacted or not. And I saw someone in a defense of Half-Life 2 say, oh, it innovated so much because it had destructible environments. No, it fucking didn't. You can't destroy anything. You throw a grenade under a car, if it's not deemed a physics interactable car, it won't even move when the grenade detonates, much less be destroyed.
I don't know if Battlefield was out at that time, but I feel like Battlefield was big into the interactable environment for a long time.
I think one of the first Battlefields might have been. But you know what game also had a very robust physics engine? Hitman. Do you want to know what year Hitman came out in? 2000. The gravity gun is a cool piece of physics engine, but you know, it really is hindered by the fact that you can't use the physics objects to creatively solve problems because Valve only really programmed in one solution to the puzzle. So if you're more clever than the developers, just fuck you, I guess. It's not Deus Ex or Hitman, where there are many different ways to solve. Pretty much any way you can think of to solve the puzzle is valid. No, we got one specific way we want you to solve this puzzle. So have at it, friend. And we give you really no clues on how to do it, so you're going to be spending a lot of time just wandering around looking over every area for the one thing you missed to continue on the puzzle. And this is the first 10 hours of gameplay. It's the loop of poor first-person shooter section, vehicle section, plot dump, poor first-person shooter section, vehicle section. But then you return to in the middle there's Ravenhold. Ravenhold is actually kind of a fun level. It's sort of a survival. It does its best Silent Hill or Resident Evil 4 impression for this section of the game, and it's a wonderful masturbatory, like, look at our physics engine, look at all these physics traps you can interact with, throw a saw blade with the gravity gun, cut off a zombie's head. Oh, zombies, by the way, did I mention there are more types of zombies than other enemies in the game combined?
No.
There are 5 types of zombie enemies in the game, if you count the head crabs. There are like 5 other total kinds of enemies in the entire game other than zombies. Why? I don't know. Because zombies were cool in 2004, I guess.
Does this have anything to do with how the AI doesn't react to you?
I
Perhaps.
mean, they don't. They don't. Maybe a little bit. I just think it was poorly programmed in a tech demo for the Source engine that they slapped the Half-Life license on to sell some more copies and put together this fucking convoluted plot that's basically, hey, the aliens have come and it's 1984 now. That's it. There's hints that there might be a greater story, but much like the X-Files, there's really nothing that the writers know that you don't. And they dangle that story progression in front of you like a dirt farmer dangles a carrot in front of a mule. But you get the stick. You don't get that carrot. You're never going to get that carrot.
Now, Kurt, I have a question for you.
What's that?
Would you rather fight the Combine in this game or fight a Combine on a farm?
I would rather fight the Combine on the farm. I think that would be a lot more interesting and engaging than fighting the Combine in this game.
So my only interaction with Half-Life is watching some Half-Life Alyx gameplay. And one of the things that I noticed was that one of the puzzle things, it was like unlocking chests and like unlocking doors and getting through obstacles, was a little repetitive, and it was like, oh great, I have to unlock another fucking cabinet using this weird hand machine. Was there that same kind of
fuckery
tactic in Half-Life 2 where
That's
it was like
all
repetitive?
Half-Life 2 was.
Yeah. Like repetitive tasks that you have to do just to like open up the door by doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, you had to like find whatever interactable and put it in such a way, or find the handle, the pole, find the switch, whatever. It's like the same 6 different kinds of puzzles interspersed, and they're in there purely to lengthen the game, from what I can tell. Most of the chapters are entirely too long, especially the vehicle sections, which just go on and on forever. Looking at you, Water Hazard. Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I one of the random YouTube videos that I watched was a Half-Life 2 speed run where they mess with the physics engine and it like propelled you forward and you didn't take fall damage for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I remember that level, and even in the speed run, which they're going like 90 miles per hour through the level, it was a long level. I was like, holy shit, why? Like, they're still on like the thing where they're in the boat.
yeah, that's how I felt fucking playing it.
Yeah,
when I stopped for the night and it was still the same level. It was just too much. So, yeah, the greatest game of all time had me bored for the majority of it, which most of the criticisms that are levied against Half-Life 2 are dismissed by Half-Life 2 fans with one rebuke, and it's, but the game's fun. Except the game really isn't that fun. Like, the pace, the story isn't that compelling, and the pacing is such, the way it's designed is Valve wants you to go and explore all the nooks and crannies of the map, but your mission is kind of urgent, and oh my fucking god, if I have to see one more fucking greatest gaming characters of all time list include Gordon Freeman, I'm gonna lose my goddamn shit. Gordon Freeman has no character. All he does is what other characters tell him to do. He doesn't say anything. I get he's a silent protagonist, but he's really just something you slap on box art. And boy, howdy, do they milk that fucking joke that he's a silent protagonist. When the elevator with Alex, man, a few words, huh? Ha ha ha! Mug for the camera. And then in the end, when Dr. Breen is like, name one thing you've created. Can you even do that? I thought not. It's like, oh, ho, 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 yeah, Gordon Freeman doesn't talk. Oh, yeah, you really got me good. Fuck you, Valve. This series is so... I mean, Half-Life 1, actually, looking back on it after playing Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1's a pretty good game. I would say maybe play Black Mesa, because it's a little more in tune with modern design sensibilities. And I've heard Half-Life Opposing Force is really good. I want to play that, actually. But Half-Life 2, for being one of the greatest games ever made and having a near-perfect score on Metacritic, is one of the least fun times I've ever had playing a video game. I would not recommend it. Watch a story synopsis if you're really fucking curious. If you really want to, if you bought your Valve Index and you want to jump into Half-Life Alyx and you enjoyed Half-Life 1, don't play Half-Life 2, because Half-Life 2 is nothing like Half-Life 1. It's everything you liked about Half-Life 1, except none of the things you liked about Half-Life 1. So just watch a story synopsis. There's not a whole lot of story. You can probably just skip the whole thing because it's bullshit. Apparently episode 2 is the good Half-Life 2. Episode 1 is just... I don't know if I'm going to play the episodes. If I get enough requests to do so, I'll do it. But I kind of just want to move on from Half-Life because they've just been generic first-person shooters. I don't understand. I mean, like, I can kind of understand Half-Life 1, but I don't understand why Half-Life 2 is so beloved. I know a lot of people are going to be upset with this review, but that's my opinion. I played the fucking game. I evaluated it for what it is now and what it was at the time, and quite honestly, Doom 3 and Halo 2 were better first-person shooters that came out that same year. Knights of the Old Republic 2 came out in 2004. Much better game overall. Different genre, so I can account for taste there. But even if you're into shooters, again, Halo 2 came out that year. Doom 3 came out that year. You had better choices.
Well, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm wondering if part of the love for it comes from the fact that the story was never ended. Or never like tied up. From what I understand, like Half-Life 3, like was wanted by a lot of the community to finish the story, but they're never going to get that. I don't think Steam will ever release or Valve will ever make a Half-Life 3.
So here's the thing: even if they ever made Half-Life 3, they're never going to resolve a story because they don't have an idea on how the story ends. They just keep throwing in more and more bullshit. Like it's exactly like the X-Files. They like hint at a greater overarching story, but when you get down the brass tacks and you look at the story that's actually in the game, like if you go on the Half-Life wiki or whatever, yeah, they'll fill in with fan theories and it'll be this rich tapestry of story. But Valve is not that good at writing stories. They really aren't. They're worse at ending stories. So yeah. Like
from what I got from Half-Life Alyx, the story wasn't like anything. Wow, it's you rescue mission to save your dad, and that's pretty much all it is. So I never really understood the hype for it.
Technical difficulties. All right, I think we got him back. All right, we got him back.
Okay, good. I was about to text y'all.
What the hell was that?
That was a weird spotty patch. Let me tell you.
That was scary. Yeah.
Yeah. So You've warmed my house. You've toasted my corn. You've fracked my natural gas with that hot take. I think I think we gotta just like, this needs to be its own little segment. It's gonna be its own video. We'll put a fucking big red arrow pointing at Gordon Freeman's crotch, and we'll say the truth about Half-Life 2. Why it sucks my balls.
Yeah.
And it'll be you like screaming at the camera.
I am considering and we might work like production in to like make it less of a solo project, but I'm considering moving my game reviews to the YouTube channel exclusively, simply because I'm writing more notes as I'm playing these games and they're getting longer, and I want to do a good job, but I also don't want the podcast to be 6 hours every week. So
because we're going to dedicate a full half hour to Cartels.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me.
It might be in the best interest of the show to move those to our YouTube channel. We'll discuss that amongst ourselves. We're supposed to have bi-weekly meetings. We need to get back on doing that.
Jake puts up a Steam review, a Steam description
I looked
of
up the
Half-Life 2.
Steam, not the review, but like the about this game, and just the one blurb about it, like just the intro to like how it is. It was like, God damn, they misled a lot. Just about like two of the main things you hit on, like the interactable environment and the reactions from the enemies, like they touted in this, but not
where the player's
to
presence
be actually in the game.
affects everything around them, from the physical environment to the behaviors and emotions of friends and enemies. It's called a video game.
The one thing I will give Valve credit for is the mocap faces was a big breakthrough, and it took a long time for other studios to catch up to the expressiveness of the characters in Half-Life 2. It's a shame.
Use Gmod today.
It's a shame that what they were expressing was just nonsensical bullshit, but I encourage you to play it for yourself. And if you are someone who really loves Half-Life 2 and thinks it's one of the greatest games ever made, talk to me on our Discord server. I'm serious. I'm not. Sell me on Half-Life 2. I really want to know what it is people love so much about the game. But from what I can find, it's basically just, oh, it was so hyped. You don't understand. You had to be there. It was so big and so hyped. But so was Duke Nukem Forever, and people generally derided that game, even though it's not as bad as people seem to think it is. But it's not great either. You can have games that are hyped and be disappointments. No Man's Sky, hyped to the gills, disappointment on launch. It's actually okay now, but it wasn't for a while. So yeah, try to sell me on it. Tell me what it is you love so much about it. I'm open to have a discussion. I'm an open-minded guy. But Half-Life 2 is a bad sequel and a 6 out of 10 at best game.
Mail. Send us fan mail at our email address, saturnstuds@gmail.com.
Yeah. All right. So that's Half-Life 2, a bad sequel with a bad protagonist, much like Cartels. Is a bad sequel to something, I'm sure. I don't think it's actually a sequel, but
it's sequel to the rest of Steven Seagal's life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's Cartels, everyone.
With a bad protagonist.
It's just Cartel. Yeah, I really thought, honestly, this was just Seagal in his everyday life. Just one of his many jobs. Whether it's a Russian ambassador to Putin or a carrot farmer in Ukraine. Just the many jobs. Is a deputy sometimes. I really think you can make a children's book. Just name Seagal.
Mr. Seagal's many
Seagal
adventures.
Many hats. Yeah, many hats.
Mr. Seagal's
Mr. Seagal.
Irreversible condition. So that's my first question upon finishing this movie. So just in sum for this movie, what condition do you have to be this out of shape? He gets winded walking a flight of stairs. Not even a whole flight. He walks half of a floor of stairs and is winded in one scene. He gets winded during his own lines where he talks during scenes. The man cannot finish a sentence without having to pause for breath. He may be obese, but he's not like my 600-pound life. How do you just have this poor function?
Because you just eat like crap, and you don't.
Yeah,
move
I don't believe you can sink this low with just junk food. You have to be on an anti-soylent slurry, like all the nutrients that Soylent provides. Like it has to be going out your ass. I don't know.
We've seen him with a carrot. Every time he opened his mouth, I was like, "Oh my God, read your lines better."
Well, you see, like I said at the beginning of the show, he starred in 7 other films that year, and I'm pretty sure they were all like filmed around the same time. So he's reading the script for the first time in those scenes. That's why he's always looking down. He's looking at the script and he's reading it for the first time. And he's got to be on a different set in 10 minutes. He ain't got time to emote or give a second take.
He's like, all right, what character am I today? Gotta get.
And then you see him in the action scenes.
Good to know you still have ethics.
You see him in the action scenes, and it's one take, but it's like 10 different cuts. It's like the fucking Taken cut, Taken editing.
I will give credit where it's due. I'm a fair man. The fight scenes in this movie that did not involve Steve Seagal were pretty good. They weren't bad.
Yeah, I think they
I've
were.
seen worse.
The one I was gonna say Russian, but there were 2. The bald, I think it's balding. Yeah, the more bald one. He was pretty decent. He was hopping around, bopping around. Seemed very lively.
Yes, the bald one. George St. Pierre, UFC Hall of Famer, one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, was pretty good at fighting.
I don't fucking care if he's the king of Siam, man.
Yes,
well,
Jake, you've broken news here on our podcast. George St. Pierre is good at fighting.
I had no idea. I don't know fighting.
George St. Pierre, one of the greatest fighters of all time, and after watching his performance in this movie as the main antagonist, I can safely say he should make room on his mantle, because that Academy Award's coming, baby.
But he died, so he can't be that good.
So,
just saying.
All right.
Hot take.
Now, at this point,
Jake's takes.
I don't want to waste any more time talking generalities. We got to get into this movie from the start.
Can we really spoil this movie? I'm pretty sure,
there are twists.
There are 90 other movies with this exact same plot. Like, when you graduate screenwriter school, they give you, like, some genre Mad Lib books with general scripts that you fill in names and
is that
locations.
What you get? Wait, is that what you get when you graduate from film school instead of like what we got when during our graduation? Those goodie bags,
the fucking Fabergé sock with the fucking
a pea and honey,
and a
cherry tomato.
Yeah.
Yo, at least we got to walk the stage though.
We did.
It's fair.
I do remember that. But I cannot forget the streamers and the chandelier hanging from the fucking hula hoop. That's what this movie was. It was a chandelier hanging off of off of a basketball rim. Just goddamn. So yeah, just if you're, the schlockiest of schlock. So before we even see a fucking graphic in this movie, the first thing we see is the credits. Now, I don't know if y'all were paying attention, but there were 3 different fonts during the credits. There was like an Arial or like a Calibri, like a standard block font for the actors and names. They're like the actors and their characters. There was a typewriter font for the locations, and these would often be in the same shot. There were 2 blocks of text with different fonts. And then Cartels, the logo for the movie, instead of being in either of these, was in its own yellow, stylized, Flavor Town-esque font, which we never saw again for the entire thing. It's just Cartels in bright
they
yellow.
the same font that the Washington football team used for their temporary logo. Now that they're not the Redskins anymore.
Yeah. So that's how I knew. Even starting out. That's how I knew what this movie was gonna be.
How I knew what this movie was going to be was when I looked at the poster and saw Steven Seagal. I'm like, I know instantly the plot of this movie, all the action that's going to happen.
So, but it somehow still managed to confuse me. First off, because of course everyone, not just Steven Seagal, but I think everyone was gumming their lines. Partially because a lot of the speaking roles are told by characters with thick Russian accents, with cartoonish Russian accents. It is me in my Russian accent. Dorji Grozhev. Don't you take the shotgun to the stranger. Tell Sir you don't go outside to the
I
street.
built this hotel. I put this shotgun in the wall.
The girl you
need
want to
grab.
fuck is my sister.
Steve Seagal, I'm here. I'm gonna take
No
your
one
time.
saw that coming, apart from everyone who watched the movie, because it was most obvious twist ever committed to film.
Now, guys, we're gonna take this position, and I kind of want you to stick together. Steven Seagal is so casual with his lines. He has no. It's not like direction. He's just like, we need you to tell them about this. He almost ad libs his lines. It almost feels that way.
You should have called when the shit went sideways.
And he uses.
You ever have a problem shooting ugly girls?
Glad to know you still have.
No, I never had a problem shooting ugly.
Oh, remember that fucking. Remember that monologue? So
It's like how the movie ends, by the way.
Oh yeah,
on a deadpan, awfully delivered line joke.
What does he
That's
say?
what they pass for a joke.
I forget what he says.
He says,
Oh,
What,
it's
the-
yeah.
the-
I've
joke
always
again?
had trouble. Would you have shot her if you knew she was Khrushchev's sister or whatever?
Salazar
and he's
Slytherin's
like-
daughter.
He's like, to be honest with you, I've always had trouble shooting a beautiful woman, which is a callback to earlier for reasons. They felt they needed to have a callback. And he's like, what if she were ugly? He's like, yep, never had a problem shooting an ugly woman. It's like, we're glad to know you have your ethics. And then it cuts to him like he lied
Heroically-
about getting something from Salazar or whatever. his
Yeah,
face is.
because they gave him a key for like 500 million or whatever. But so
Yeah.
the movie ends with our hero being corrupted by the
Yeah.
cartel, getting heroically on his bike and riding away.
Like he did a good thing.
So yeah, it's worth noting that the entire movie is framed much like Artemis Fowl.
Yes,
as
I did draw
as a-
that comparison as well. In fact,
As
that it's both a post-mortem interview and a terrible movie.
Well, it's actually. I also think it's set up the same way as some Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Let me. I'm trying to find. I watched something after it, and they were like. They even referenced the movie, I think, in this movie, which is like.
That's interesting because I don't think Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal get along at all.
No, I don't think.
I
they
couldn't
did.
imagine. So yeah, it's framed as this. While Jake's looking up the movie, it's framed as this like interview between Seagal and the main character, who
Who is a British man doing a very awkward American accent.
yeah, that's the best way to put it. So the first action scene is the raid on the cartel. Slaggy
goes-
Slagimov.
Yeah, it happens. It happens so quickly into the movie and goes so well for the federal agents. They just pretty much accomplished their goal with very little resistance or conflict.
I was actually kind of confused at the end. So first, side note, there is a Ramirez in this, and as soon as I saw that name, like I knew someone was Ramirez. Get over here! Like that's the most fucking. That's Call of Duty level.
I mean, that's where that's
Fucking-
from.
Yeah. So they attack it, and like I guess the boss had like a wire in his chest piece, and that's why he took it with him. And they're like, we have to extract him alive. or something. They're very, it's like they want to let's get this bitch alive. But then Steven Seagal walks in, and like, after like a little fight scene, he just like shoots the boss, and then he looks down. Like, I was literally waiting for him to be like, "Oops, oh shit, guys."
Yeah,
like he looks like kind of like dejected, like, "Oh fuck me."
Kill 'em all.
I've never seen this movie.
Never. I've heard of it.
Actually, this came out in 2017.
When you said Jean-Claude Van Damme, I was picturing like young Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
So it's like they ripped off like a movie that came around on the same time.
Same year, yeah. Well, like I said, it's the Mad Libs plot thing. You get it when you graduate film school. You just fill in character names and locations. Obviously, there's going to be... I'm sure there's a dozen other movies with the exact same plot because it's all in the Mad Lib.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess he accidentally kills the guy, but not really. He was really being taken into custody by the DEA. But really, he wasn't. It was actually. Like, there's fucking twisty-turny bullshit that just confused me in the worst way. I was like, this plot it's fucking Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
It's rotten Swiss cheese. It's just
It was
gaping
awful.
holes. Dripping.
It just...
With bad acting everywhere.
It was thin. I mean, it's an action movie. You didn't come here for the plot. You came here for the action, and the action is, it's not great.
I mean, I came here for the plot because I'm terrible at discerning what's good action and what isn't. My eyes glaze over whenever I see an action scene start. So it's always weird. It's always a strange thing for me because I'm often like, oh, the action was all right on that. But that's because I wasn't actually paying any attention to what the fighting that was going on.
I mean, to be fair, the action is okay. Like, Steven Seagal, for being an actual police officer, he is hella awkward with a gun. Like, he just does not look comfortable.
Remember that one where there was a shot where he's like holding a gun like this, and then he shifts his over to his other hand.
Yeah.
He's like, I kind of like it like this. Okay.
And the fight scenes that did not involve Steven Seagal were actually pretty good. The main character and the corrupt DEA chief, that was a pretty good fight scene. And then one of the most hysterical image I've ever seen, where Steven Seagal wins a fight against George St. Pierre.
That was just pure ego for him.
Knowing that guy is like a pretty decent fighter.
Little strong boy.
26-2 professional record.
Knowing that guy probably can go toe-to-toe with me, and I'd probably still lose, but knowing that it's just funnier too. It's like, I don't know. Did Steven Seagal have like any say in this movie? Did he?
He's a
produce it?
producer, yes.
I don't think he makes any movies that he's not producing on. He's at the stage in his life
Because
where
no
it's
one
just,
will cast him otherwise. It's gotta be his own project.
Yeah, because like he just also put himself in a situation where he's like infallible. He can't do anything wrong. He's not gonna get the shit beat out of him.
Welcome to every Steven. Oh, the movie.
And it's like it just gets
and he gets to
obnoxious.
sit for a lot of it. He gets to sit down for a lot of the
We
movie.
need to show you, Jake. Peter and I need to show you the movie he's in with Stone Cold Steve Austin, where the climactic fight scene, he barely fucking moves. It is just laughably terrible.
Jeez. And I mean, he hardly moved for this one too, other than allowing for the stunt double to come in and do some of his trip.
I don't think he has more than 35 degrees of motion in his hips.
Yeah.
If you dropped some
Cheetos
Cheetos on the floor in front of him, it'd be a Sisyphean task because he can't resist that shit. But he can't bend down to get it.
Okay, now we're gonna move to the point where he picks up his gun. No action. Bring in his stunt double. Come on, let's get him in there. He needs Mr. Seagal cannot bend over. He has that little grabby.
That's
he
why
and Russell
it took
Crowe were on the same keto diet.
And that's why it took 10 minutes into this movie before we saw Steven Seagal in the shot for 3 consecutive seconds of him on screen.
Yeah.
It's so...
This was something else. The thing that did it for me, I think, for the entire movie was like, all right, it's a low budget. Maybe Steven Seagal sucks at anything dealing with action. It's just the lines were so, and the writing was just, it was so unnatural to listen to these people, if you can call them that, talk to one another. There's mongrels just creating sentence syntax.
I think part of the issue stems from the fact that the majority of people in this movie aren't actors by trade.
Mm-hmm.
They're stunt people or professional fighters or Steven Seagal. None of them actors.
Yeah, like
acting is at the bottom of Seagal's
like he gets
list.
on the base to become part of the team, and they just start running or some shit. They just start going. And it's like you got to catch up. I don't care about your dumbass excuses. Welcome to Missouri. It's like what? And I was already thrown off because at the beginning of the scene it shows the time, and it says 0900 hours, and then it shows 0900 underneath, as if we didn't know what that meant. But if you don't know what that means, then you don't know what the numbers mean either. Like, it's just super redundant. And then it shows them when they finish their run 5 hours later, like they were apparently running for 5 hours. Like, that's okay, fine, maybe that's a special forces thing. Sure, they can, do a 5 hour run. But like, they just took a half hour running, and they're like, no, it's 3 in the afternoon now.
Yeah. I feel like with 0900, a layman can kind of piece together that that's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then through context clues of it being daylight can discern that that's 9 o'clock a.m.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's fine. It's like of
whatever, all the things that are wrong with this movie, I would rank that low on my list of complaints.
It's just so.
It's
just. But that's for me.
Like
that's
the
a little
font
thing
stuff. I didn't have a problem with.
It's the sprinkles. It's the little rainbow sprinkles on top of this shit sundae.
The writing really did it for me. I think that's my biggest gripe. I mean, even the beginning was like something where that's the go word. What's the fucking go word, my dude? Check.
Yeah.
Are you just say go? Just say go. Just tell him to move in.
The worst writing for me in this movie was when the DEA agents or whatever, like the chief is trying to hand off Sergei Kravenov to the...
they zoom out on his hand at one point to show his tattoo, but they never follow up on it. Sorry.
And
is it the year that...
And they're on the tarmac, and he's trying to explain to them why they have to, like, do this really shady bullshit. And it's, like, just the most awkward fucking exchange between two movie characters I've ever witnessed. And then when they're like the year of the rat and just going on and on about zodiac signs, I'm like, who the fuck wrote this?
Steven Seagal, he wrote that scene. He's like, I know about.
I was like, did I miss something where the Army Ranger, U.S. Marshal, I think it was U.S. Marshal. I'm like, did I miss something where he was like really big into like zodiacs, or like did the Russian guy mention like the year of the something?
No, they say.
And I'm like, what they say? Why does he bring up year of the rat?
Yeah, they tell him like people born the year of the rat, whatever, blah 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 blah, and he's like, well, I am a shark. I'm like, that's not in the zodiac. Steven Seagal, it's not in the zodiac.
I'm like, God
you
damn.
Could be a dragon or a pig
or a snake or a fucking
snake. Something that eats rats. I don't know.
A bull. Every
line that was written for this movie was nobody. There were no checks to the script. It was all rough draft.
Yeah, this was written and shot in the same weekend. Like, you can't expect pristine quality. Or they gotta get in. I mean, Steve Seagal's only got like an hour before he has to be on his next movie set, so they gotta get it in while the light's good.
I bet you they did shoot all of Steven Seagal's shit in
I
one day.
guarantee you all 7 of those movies were filmed on the same lot over the course of like a week.
And it was a big thing because they're like, okay, Mr. Seagal's coming in today to do all his shooting. It's like, we got to be on our best behavior.
And he
I love
comes
this
in
day
on his
because it has the best craft
he
services.
comes in on his fucking rascal mobility scooter.
Oh, I was thinking he might come in on a Segway. I could see that man on a Segway just
He doesn't
being
have to
like,
bend
No,
over
but that would
way.
involve him standing. On the rascal, he can be seated.
He just pulls right up to the desk. He's like, I'm ready to start filming.
the man is a cartoon
He just
character.
rolls right in on his rascal, straight to craft services, and they're like, Mr. Seagal, we have your scene ready for you. He's like, not until I have my morning breakfast. And he eats half of the craft service table, and he gets a little sleepy because he's in a food coma, and he's like, now I'm ready to shoot.
I think that's what he did. I think that's why his lines sound like he's about to pass out, because he has a food baby brewing in his tum-tum.
Again,
He
like,
looks a little bloated, too.
I gotta find that line, but there's one that just stuck out to me where he's like explaining something. He's being really intense, and then he stops, takes a breath, and then peters out the rest of his line. Like, he loses all momentum that he was just talking. I'm like, you can do another take, Steven. It's just a line of dialogue.
Every time he swore,
Oh,
too,
that
was like,
rant where
every time he swore, it really stood out to me. Like he was really putting a lot of emphasis on the fuck.
he's like, every other word
And
was
it wasn't very
motherfucker in that
smooth.
one scene.
yeah,
This motherfucking
every
thing
other
on
word,
the
it's like-
motherfucker. I'm like, Steven, think of the swear jar.
it's like I get it. Military people, they have that.
You
culture
gotta
where, like,
earn that
swearing-
R rating, Jake.
Yeah, but yeah, and like, cause I have a friend who, whenever he comes back from training, he usually is swearing like a sailor who's just been
Yeah, you know where
back
that
from his
term
lighthouse
comes from?
duties.
Sailors in the Navy, they swear a lot. That's literally the origin of the phrase.
But he's not in the Navy.
Is he in the land navy?
He's in the land
Navy.
Navy.
He drove a Shavy to the Levy, but the Levy was
He
dry.
was dry.
But he like always swears. Like, it's like, and I have other coworkers who are in the military because Northrop, and they swear quite often. they get that
But
those flashbacks of their training and everything like that. They're like,
Vietnam.
time to use my
do
sentence
they?
enhancers.
But do they spread swears all over their sentences like Old Bay on so much crab bake?
Well, that seems like what Steven Seagal did, because he made sure that it was emphasized as much as Old Bay is on anything that it goes on. It's like, you tell me about these fucking people. It's like, why is that
He's
so?
a very religious man,
it's like-
so he didn't want to
punch in
swear,
the
actually, so that's just ADR. They got some guy who kind of could do a Steven Seagal impression, but not really, because they had to get the printout to Hulu in 2 weeks, so they couldn't find a good Steven Seagal impressionist, so they just got one of the sound guys to try and do an impression of him saying fuck.
Yeah, it's just trash. It's basically, you remember 12 Rounds 3? This was the same.
Worse.
Again, outline is that it's just, here, let's shoot in one location. Die Hard was good. That's a cool movie that was kind of like took place in one location. We can be Die Hard. No, you can't. You can't be Die Hard.
Die Hard couldn't even be Die Hard after the first Die Hard.
It's true.
Right.
It's difficult. It's hard. Die Hard hard.
Die Hard
so-
with a Vengeance.
Basically, Sergei Brukmenov, Gennady Tartakovsky, is in his safe room in his hotel, and he's like, "Did you ever look into own the hotel? It was me. I own the hotel. It was my safe room."
I am the captain now.
So he's gonna strike a deal as long as he kept his wife safe. But the underboss killed the wife, so he's like, "Fuck it." I pull shotgun out of my fucking potted plant, I forget the name of the pot of like a office potted plant. Starts with an F. Not a fern.
Ficus.
Fern.
Ficus. Yes, I pull shotgun out of my ficus. Pull it right out of my
This
ficus.
has been. My little friend has been waiting here for a long, long time.
I'm fairly sure that was a piece of pipe with a plastic binder clip on it.
It looked bad.
It was a crappy gun.
The weapon design looked really bad.
So they fight dudes in various hotel-related settings. There is a butler who smokes weed, and that's funny.
And then he turns out to be part of the gang.
What's a twist?
Oh my god!
The butler. I need to take a moment to talk about this butler. Not only does he smoke weed, but I swear to God, he was reading his lines off of cue cards because he was staring off past the camera, and his eyes were moving as he was saying his lines, very woodenly, might I add.
Holy shit!
As if they were the first time he's ever seen them.
He was in 2 movies.
It was standout how bad that, like, even among the rest of this Transformers, he rivaled Steven with his performance. It was entertaining, honestly. So yeah, he smokes weed, but he's a bad guy, so, you know. They continue to fight. They have fights in stairwell, fights in kitchen. People get shot, people get choked out. Things happen. Grenades, explosions, and then they're in a tunnel. And the Gorban Ghoulie, Beef Stroganoff, suggests to U.S. Marshal Baldwin, if, you know, I'm gonna go because I've got your lady friend hostage. I'm gonna pop her Botox if you don't let her go. And he's like, fine, I want to kiss those lips later. That surgery was expensive. So he goes, and then the police come arrest him, and there's this underlying theme of, like, he's not trustworthy. But you're like, he's the hero, so he's got to be trustworthy. But it turns out that
he's not trustworthy.
The fucking Stoli Vodka gave him a fucking mail key that was this small to fucking $500 million. I don't know what kind of safe you put that in, but that looks a lot like the safe I had when I was a little baby kid, where it was one tumbler and you turn it to the right number. It came out and it had the built-in alarm, so whenever you open it, no matter who opened it, if you open it up, it made that fucking ringing sound.
I never thought of that, but you're so right. That is like a child's baby's first
It's a
key.
TSA travel
baby's
lock
first
key.
safe.
That's the fucking key to my mailbox at Alfred.
It looks exactly like the key that we just got for our new like patio deck box.
Yeah.
It's literally that little tiny little shit that can be picked with a bobby pin
You
and
couldn't-
a
You
butter
couldn't
knife.
just
fucking lock
twist
out,
it
tag
off
out
with-
a goddamn broom closet with that key.
We got new lockout
That's
tag-outs.
a 5S reference for all y'all out there.
We got new lockout tag-out locks, but they're like plastic on the bar, so I'm like, I could just break this off with my bare hands. This isn't locking out anything.
Oh. Neither is this movie is keeping out anyone from a horrible time.
Yes, don't watch Cartels. I really don't have anything else to say
No.
about this movie.
There wasn't a whole lot of plot.
do watch
the
it.
writing was awful. If you really are into like watching some Steven Seagal
Yes,
cringe,
if you are like Peter and
Then,
I,
like-
and you've made it your life's mission to chronicle the career of Steven Seagal,
Yeah.
then you're obliged to watch this. Like, it's obligatory.
yeah, that's where I think this might hit home with people that the Seagal cringe.
All cringe.
Shit. Yeah, this is rough.
But you know what's not rough? More of our content. You can check out our stuff at saturnstuds.com. You can find links to our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/saturnstuds. We stream usually at least Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. But Saturdays at 8 p.m. is our primary time slot. Currently streaming Doom 3. We might go a little bit earlier in the day tomorrow because wrestling is on that night, and we might want to watch that live. But you can stay posted on our Twitter at StudsSaturn, and you'll know before we go live when we're going live and where. Of course, it's always Twitch, but previously when Mixer was live, it could have not been that. But also on our website, again, saturnstuds.com, you can find our YouTube channel, which has older VODs of our live stream on there in full 1080p, 60 frames per second. We only stream at 720p. So if you want high quality VODs or you've missed our VODs, you can go and find them on the YouTube channel, and possibly new original content. We might be moving my game reviews there, as we mentioned earlier in the show. The show can be found on every major podcasting platform, so please give it a review on your platform of choice. If you show us some love on iTunes, we will shout you out on the show. So please sure to rate us 5 stars or whatever you feel is appropriate. It doesn't have to be 5 stars. Give us your feedback. We're hungry to improve. But
I'm hungry for stars.
And only 5 will satisfy for me.
Feed Peter. You don't want him to starve. He's starting his
Jake, that's
diet.
a great tagline. Can that be my new? That's my new porn tagline. Only 5 will satisfy.
Only 5.
Moderately sized dicks.
U.S.
5
average.
inches. That's all you need. That's just how deep it is. Yeah. So on that note, that's all we've got for episode 225. Be sure to check us out next week. So subscribe and rate. And until next time, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.